Mellow greetings, fellow stationeers, and welcome back to Europa. With me, 54 Bear, just enjoying the nighttime view. Okay, what have we been doing? Not very much. I was able to coax a seed trader down here. I was able to get tomatoes, soybeans, and wheat, so I can start growing bread. And most importantly, I can now make French fries. You can't see it, but there is a French fry in that little fridge at the end. And yes, I am excited. More so than I should be, but as I may have mentioned before, a world without French fries is not a world I wish to live in. Anyway, on to the matter at hand. We are building an advanced furnace. And you may notice that this is a bit of a different design than I have done in the past. It occurred to me, whilst I was looking through the Stationpedia, looking at all the different smelting temperatures and pressures, that when you put them in the spreadsheet, and yes, I embraced my inner nerd and made a spreadsheet, there are only 4 temperatures that you need. And it doesn't really matter what gas it is, as long as you're dealing with pre-smelted ores, pre-degassed ores. It doesn't really matter. So you could have all volatiles or all oxygen, whatever. That's not a good idea. I mean, I will probably use pollutants and CO2 because of their thermal properties. But apart from solid fuel requires pure volatiles at 900 Kelvin and above, I believe, to make solid fuel, but I'm probably not going to be doing that. I will be leaning into the gas fuel generator, and even though water ice exists aplenty on Europa, I would like the base to take steps towards becoming self-sufficient and actually make its own water. So, yes, this is the design I've come up with, on the basis that we have 4 tanks. Each will contain gas at a specific temperature, and hopefully lots of it. All I need then is a way of pumping that gas into the furnace, and most importantly, pumping it back out when I'm done. Because I don't want to, once I've got the temperatures established, in theory, they will stay very constant as long as I don't mix and match. So if I bring gas from this tank in, this will be the cooler one, and do some smelting, and then if I don't evacuate the inlet manifold and bring stuff in from, say, the number 2 tank, then that temperature gets diluted. So, yeah. What I wanted was as small an inlet manifold as I could manage, and I think this is probably the best. If I joined these pipes here, I could probably make it a little bit smaller, but I don't actually know. I keep leaving my Atmo tablet inside the base, so I can't actually check and see what the volume is, and I'm too lazy to count. But it'd only be a matter of like 10 or 20 litres. So, yeah, I think having them done this way will actually work. Now, obviously, all of these are at the back. I could position them at the front, but then I would have a lot of trouble putting the temperature readouts and hash readouts and various other things that I like to be able to see while I'm smelting. So, yeah. And in addition to that, my plan is to automate things. What I mean by that is I will have a dial selecting from 0 to 4. So I'll have 5 values. 0 is everything off. Then 1 would be one tank, 2 would be the second, and so on. And I'd have a button which would then open the corresponding digital valve. That would then connect the inlet manifold on the furnace to the specific tank. The furnace can then use its own controls to bring the pressure in to the tank, and I don't have to worry about the pressure in the manifold as such, because the digital valve will create a gap between them. Obviously, if I pump a lot of stuff out very quickly, there is a danger that the pump in the furnace will output stuff faster than the digital valve will let it through. So I will have to be careful on that. I don't know what the exact numbers are for that situation because I haven't been, I haven't actually had any direct experience with it. So I have all the turbo volume pumps aligned the same way, so that I don't know whether this is the right way or whether I'll have to reverse the positions. But yeah, so you have a mode which controls which direction it's going to go in. Whatever way they're set, I'd like them all to be the same. But yeah, mode 0 I would like to be outwards, I guess. But I don't think I would ever actually change that. So as long as they're all set the same, it shouldn't really matter. Digital valves, again, even though there's a direction arrow when you place them, they allow gas both ways. So all of these will get paired up like this and attached to their respective tanks. I don't like having them on the floor, but really I didn't have much choice. I could conceivably have put some up on top, but I haven't given up on the idea of maybe having spare tanks up here for whatever reason, like an emergency dump or something like that. That remains to be seen. So I have frames both sides and at the top in order to create an airtight seal. I will have windows front and back, as is my tradition. I may put 2 windows at the front so that if it does blow out, it blows out to the back. Because, yes, standing here, always a danger I could get catapulted into these spinning blades of death up here. One can only hope, right? Anyway, so what I intend to do is, this will be the hot tank, and I have a partially built ice crusher. That will be crushing a metric crap ton of nitrice. Then have a filtration unit. This will pull the nitrogen out through this pipe into here. So this tank will end up with a bunch of cold nitrogen in it. So makes sense. This will be, of the 4 temperatures, this will be the coldest. Once I have that done, I will then add in an imperial crap ton of volatiles and do the pipe igniter thing and explode the contents. The hope is that the explosion will be contained within the tank and we will end up with a lot of very hot gas. That gas can then be equalized between the 4 tanks. This one I'll have to take some extra precautions because of the nitrogen content. It may involve the use of a temporary tank. I don't actually know at this point. And then there will be some radiator shenanigans and maybe some heat exchanger doohickeys involved to get the target or the temperature down in each of the 4 tanks to the respective target. I don't recall what they are. This one's going to be whatever it is, like 2300 or whatever you get when you explode nitrox fuel. This one I think will be 1275. This one I think will be 900, and this one will be 500, I think. I've got it all down in my spreadsheet, and I'm too lazy to open it up to look. But anyway, so the tanks will control the temperature. The furnace itself will control the pressure, and a dial and a couple of buttons will control whether the digital valve is open or whether the pump is actively draining the inlet manifold back into the tank. That is the idea. I don't know how successful it's going to be. I'm resisting the urge so far to download Mix or Cowser Evil's furnace script. I mean, it is a pretty wonderful thing, but I don't truly understand it, and if I don't understand it, I don't like using things. One day I will, and maybe at that point I will start using it. But for now, I will still go with a manual approach, but hopefully one that is a little easier to use and isn't going to require quite so much of the dark arts as to figuring out which blend of tanks you need to reach a particular pressure and temperature and what you're going to do with the resulting gas. So, yeah. Join me in the future, if you will, and I will be back, hopefully, with a more finished design in the very near future. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. If you have any questions, comments, observations, complaints, even a good dad joke, leave them in the comments. I am always delighted to read them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. 54 Bear out.